So here we are. She's cooling down right now. We can't take her out, otherwise the plexiglass will kind of warp. But yeah, it came out really good. You know, we're gonna have probably like a 1.5-inch bubble, because this is 3/4 of an inch. So I think this will look pretty good. I mean, obviously I'm going to change the color when I decide what color I'm painting the van, but in the meantime, let's start working on cutting these holes. Back to the channel. So today we're going to be chopping a hole in the van. Now you have to remember, older vans have a brace here. Mine does not. This is an 81, and there's a brace somewhere up here. So how I'm going to do it now, you also you got to be aware of this body line here and the top up here. I made my bubbles about as big as I possibly could. As you'll see, my bubbles are going to be somewhere right around here, and I'm going to keep the tips, you know, obviously symmetrical with the top. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the inside, because you can see there's really not a whole heck of a lot of room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this all lined up like perfectly where I want it. So I'm missing the bend there, and I'm not at the bend up top. And I'm going to mark it here. I'm going to mark it here. Drill 2 holes through the van, kind of set it in place with nuts and bolts, then mark out the rest. And then we'll get it all drilled out. Nothing to see here, move along. So as you can see, we got a nut and bolt in there, nut and bolt in there. Now we just got to go through and drill out the rest. So about 14 holes from now, we'll be able to try the frame on the outside. You can see we drilled all our pilot holes through. Now we're going to go through with the one of these step bits, sort them all out to a 1/2 inch. Any areas where I wasn't perfectly happy, I did a little mark with a marker so I can kind of aug it out that way. So we're going to take this frame off, drill through, and hopefully we can test fit the outside frame. So next up, we got it all drilled out. We put the template on, we took a little marker and just drilled the inside. And we're going to be cutting basically all the black from the marker. So we pull that off. You can see what we got. This is garbage. I'm going to drop a pilot hole in there, get my little air saw, and start scrolling. I think the little air saw will be the best way, at least most accurate. All right, let's make a hole. Now we got to remember to cut on the outside of this line. Let me rephrase that. I have to remember. Let's start. Well, I'd love to say it took 5 minutes, but it took about a 1/2 hour. Important tech tip: as you are cutting this, use nuts and bolts and lock washers to hold it in place. Now this is free. The lock washers are holding it right there. If you don't lose lock washers, they're just going to vibrate right out. So we're going to pop this out real quick and try the frame. All right, so as you can see, only got a little tiny bit of metal showing right there. We're gonna go through, sand all this and prime it first, but for the most part, I am quite happy with this. Then we're gonna get some plexiglass and see how it looks. Oh yeah, it's hot. As far as making this window waterproof, what we are using is, I have this 1/4 inch butyl sealant tape. It's basically rope gasket. So it'll all flatten out and whatnot when we tighten her down. And you just want to make sure you go around the outside of all the bungs. That's all. So I'm gonna go get this in place and see how it looks. Excited. All right, view from inside the van. Outside's all on. On the inside, at this point, all we have to do really is install the plate, which really no sense in showing you. That just goes up here. But what we're doing is we're putting one washer on the inside before we install the plate, because we're going to be running this really cool like little fluorescent neon I forget what this is, an LED. I forget what this is, but should look pretty cool. Bends really easy, as you can see, and I don't need a whole lot of room because this stuff's tiny. So we're gonna put the plate on and circle back to this. Install. Now, if I were keeping this pink, I would go through with a little sanding wheel on my Dremel and clean up all these edges, and you can see they're not perfect. But I decided once I saw these things in the sun that I'm not going to be keeping the pink. So these are just on here temporarily. As far as the install on the inside, it's a little, you know, different. You can see here, I go through, I use about 4 washers and then a small washer. The bigger washers slide over the bung, and then this last one just dead ends. I found 4 all the way around, seem to be pretty perfect. You know, the interior, this is simple. We just use insulation, and then we glue the whatever we're using right to the insulation. So, yeah, this is the hard part, getting it all cut out and getting it set in place. Swapping out the plexiglass, that's very, very simple. I am waiting on one other piece of plexiglass. Otherwise, I would have done that today. The bubble I blew at the very beginning of this video is for the other side, so I don't know if I'm gonna have enough time today. This did take probably 2 hours from start to finish to get this all cut in and set up. So I'm gonna give it the water test. You can see, you know, all the butyl tape. You know, it is all compressed and everything. You can go through with a razor blade, just cut that off. I try to put it inside as much as possible, but I'm not even gonna worry about that because, you know, these frames, they're getting repainted. The plexiglass, that's getting redone. But yeah, overall, I am very happy. These are windows that you do not see on vans nowadays. So stay tuned for more. Like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends. And here we are. Now this window's all installed. I did not put the plate on, and I haven't even walked out to see it yet. This side I do have the plate on. So I'm undecided. I think I'm gonna scrap the pink and go with these, at least for right now. Because until I paint the van, these pretty much match everything. So I do have to go back, maybe do a little shaving on the plexiglass, but these are coming out again anyway when I start doing body work. But in the meantime, they're all in. Should be all waterproof because I do have the gasket behind there. And yeah, I'd say they're pretty flush. You know, the van does have a bend to it. So I'm going to leave these on here for a couple days before I pull it off and put the inside gasket in. And you can see a couple of areas here, here, here where the gasket's coming through. So when I do final paint, that you can just easily get off with a razor knife. Not a problem. But in the meantime, I think that's going to wrap it up. So what do you guys think? Do you like the tint? Or do you like the, unfortunately, orange? It's supposed to be pink. I mean, looks pretty pink on the inside. So guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you want to follow the build, because next we're moving up front. Next thing you're going to see, we're going to do something special with their nose. So thanks for watching, guys.